actually moved from Pretoria. Hold on, I just want to. We moved from Centurion a couple of weeks ago. We were part of the CPF there, which were extremely active.
Right.
So when we arrived here, I tried to get hold of the local, seemingly the Mautsi, Rosendal area has already got a CPF a dude that's in this township here. But compared to the city, they are very less active, it seems. You know, when we in the city, we go for a training course and the whole thing, and they drag you with experienced guys around for a couple of times, radio protocol and how to approach situations. So I was thinking, when we moved here the first time, there was an immense amount of flooding. This area is, I mean, I'm not going to say how much millimeters or meters of rain we get if it does rain, which is often, because it's. I mean, the whole country is under flooding, but especially this area, we've got a lot of low level water bridges. So and people try and get from one side to another side, and they keep on getting in distress. So in between the inaction from the CPF or the local CPF, and it seems like there is actually nothing being done. Although I do see, after flooding, I do see a lot of the police divers and canoes and stuff up and down. But it's most probably at that point it's too late. So I was thinking of maybe we should just, there is an influx of city people into this area. So I think, but it's not only them that gets into trouble. I mean, let me just stress that. Even the locals, they take chances. They believe their bakkie is capable of something, which it isn't. And then they get distressed. So I think it's an education process. So I started searching. You know, what can we do? And that's how I got to you guys. So it's a fact-finding mission. As I said, I'm more into urban protection and visible policing. I'm pretty new to snake catching and rescuing and relocating and stuff like that, especially here with the winter. We've got a plague of frogs and stuff. So the snakes are obviously going after their meals, and they end up in people's houses and stuff. So so that's one portion of it. But a little bit of policing. There's a marketing thing here where everybody says there's no crime, which is a false. It's not true. There's crime. I mean, we sit with Mautsi is a 47,000 resident location next to us, and unemployment is rife. I mean, it's terrible. So I mean, and if you say to somebody, "Oh, I'm starved to death," or break in, you know, the guy will break in. I mean, he will not willingly starve. And we've seen that, you know, I mean, it's you're lucky when you're not at home when they do break in, but you get a situation where you by accident find the person still in the house. You skriking and everybody's panicking. So yeah, it's a. I'm looking for a balanced solution between emergency response. There are a lot of elderly residents as well. Water is a problem here. Electricity is a problem. You know, and just to see if we can't balance the thing out and help people. I don't think as I said, the flooding is a problem, but I mean, you know, we will see how it goes. I mean, I think there's opportunity to make it better. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, you see, I think this is a problem nationally, and to deal with it is not an easy one. Especially, you know, that over the last sort of 15 years, I'm going to say it as such, the white communities in particular saw the need for the formation of community policing forums. this resulted in an explosion, not only amongst CPFs and security-related aspects, but it saw a major decline and actual eradication of the entire reservist force in terms of police, traffic, and what was known as traffic. Now everybody's moved to Metro Police, and also the EMS and fire services. So that caused again another explosion of the private ambulance services popping up all over the show. Netcare, ER24 in particular, growing to be as big as what they did. My background, I used to drive for the Vries ambulance many years ago. I'm talking 30 years ago. So, I'm not going to go through my entire background at this moment in time. CERT, ultimately, as you may have seen, I did post our memorandum of incorporation purely because of the fact that our objectives are clearly sort of indicated on the first couple of lines, and that is literally to provide community social welfare and disaster relief. I'm inclined to change our MOI in due course and remove the community social welfare. Unfortunately, SIPC puts that in by default. As I'm a founding member of MCOM Assist CERT. I initially formed it as a business concern and brought on a lot of volunteers that had come out of the radio amateur community. I'm a licensed radio amateur, as you heard, with our call signs, and then Adrian's also an amateur. And I see you got a couple of choice radios there, like a Motorola and a Kenwood and a Baofeng. And are you a radio amateur by any chance?
Man, not really. The place that I used to stay in Pretoria is next to the Air Force Base. So
right.
My MyCom 108 is purely to monitor their frequencies, the ATC and the ground and stuff.
Mm.
The Kenwoods, the handheld and the base mobile base one is purely for CPF. The others are backup. Then basically line of sight Zartek, little Zarteks that we use, because especially when we now, I can see the other side of town. There's nothing in between me. I'm experimenting with FM transmitter now, which I know is highly illegal. But I'm gonna call it Radio Roosendaal or something like that, because I'm looking at either a 7-watt or a 15-watt transmitter now, but that's just for fun. Running a little radio station. There's a couple of the people that live in town. Some of them are from the SABC and the NASPAS built and stuff like that. So I thought I could convince them to, just a little, to keep the community informed of stuff. A little, because when we bought a radio from the local shop, and the lady said to me, "You're not going to catch anything." And I said, "No, man, that can't be that difficult, man. You've got OFM, you've got Maluti FM and whatever." But she was really correct now. We're sitting in a like a little dip, which seems like we kind of cut off from everything. So yeah, most of the stuff are very specific. My interest in aviation. The others are CPF, and the others are more protection or security inside the complex or my immediate neighborhood. My boss are big into amateur radio when I was in Arms Corps, Krijgkorps. So he's been forever trying to get me into it, but I've always had a strange collection of 29 megahertz and 77 megahertz and all the strangest megahertz you can find. I like the communication medium, being in IT, radio is such a still beautiful, pure communication medium. So yeah, it's more a love interest type of thing, but some of it is for for proper purposes. When there's at the last unrest that we had, everybody jumped into panic mode, and even we've got a very rich area next to us at Pierre Vereineveld, but they're also the buffer between us and Tembisa. All of a sudden, everybody joined the CPF. They were all up in arms, buying radios and stuff like that. The unfortunate thing is, even if we use a repeater, they just basically at the edge of our reception. So we can barely hear them if they call for help. And in the city, you also sit with these gated communities. So even if they call for help, or they say, "Oh, we've got an incident," just getting to them, going through the rigmarole of getting through their security is also a nightmare on its own. And it's difficult. I think there's a lot of applications. Most applications hasn't been even thought of that we can use for this communication. Your cell network is a fragile network. Even my RTS, I'm using RTS from Senekal, which is my internet connection. It's also a fragile thing. It's whoever, the mast must be up, there must be power to it. And in the city again, we've got an active route covering the cell networks in our area, because if you turn your back on a cell tower, the batteries are gone. So especially where we are miles from everything. And there is still this. It's almost like a romancing type of or I don't know. The people come in and they say, "Well, there's really no crime here," but it's not true. It's half a sales spiel that the real estate guys are doing because they're doing development here. And other people are living in a Peter Pan type of idea or place. So, but I reckon that something should be done. And I spoke to the guy that runs the CPF in our area now, and he doesn't seem at all interested, except for his title, being a chairperson. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Now I want you to sit back and listen to what I'm about to tell you.
We've got a terrible storm. I think I'm going to lose you guys. That is rain on the corrugated iron.
All right, we can't hear that, eh?
Let's see if we can find a quieter room.
Have you got earphones?
Most of the house is still corrugated iron.
Oh, okay.
So if we get a really nasty rainstorm, like I was in the kitchen now, I can barely hear anything.
Yeah.
But that means also there's going to be flooding again tonight during the night. So.
All right. So can you hear me at the moment then?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I just want to speak from my heart, and I want you to listen to what I'm about to suggest and recommend. And then also for you to really think about a way forward here, because listening to you, I'm going to say to you that, again, coming back down to the purpose and the objectives of MCOM Assist Cert, we are a registered non-profit company. We are also a registered public benefit organization. Our entire purpose, as I said, is to provide the community social welfare and disaster relief. However, this, we have stated, will be done by establishing volunteer community emergency response teams capable of providing specialized disaster relief and assistance to communities. So in essence, Income Assist CERT is definitely not designed to replace CPFs or EMS or anything along those lines. We are not a first responder organization. Now, as you have come out of the metropolitan areas of Centurion and have gone down into the Free State, it is quite clear that circumstances will differ between the built-up areas and, you know, the farming communities as a whole. That then means that, as you said, you know, by your own words, no, there'll be flooding again tonight. This is where the role of CERT and the teams in that area need to play a role. That role begins by forming groups of volunteers. Now, I hear you stating you have the desire towards the community policing and that type of aspect, but you are also aware of the fact that there are other situations that that will arise and become problematic. And on that basis, you may very well be at a crossroads in your life where you might have to take a decision and say, look, where I could operate effectively and efficiently within Centurion and the CPFs, I won't be able to do that here in the Free State. However, because of the passion that I have and probable skills that I'm going to acquire moving forward, I can still provide services to the local community, i.e., by bringing other people on board as volunteers of CERT and for everybody going through the relevant training and what have you. So the second part that CERT is going to be involved in order to meet its primary objective is to educate registered CERT volunteers and communities on disaster preparedness. So listening to you, I can definitely see you fitting in on our objective of providing social welfare and disaster relief. You, listening to you, have a capability of building teams and bringing people on board. Now, because we are a non-profit company, that means that three of us, as a minimum, had to come together and register as a founding member or director of the non-profit company. Myself, John, and Stephen Reynolds, John Groom and Stephen Reynolds. We are all three radio amateurs. We decided to form the NPC, and I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but the other two directors voted me in as the chairman of the NPC. So there's my title. And to be quite honest, I don't give a shit about the title, but I'm here to save lives. And I think Adrian will bear me out on that one. So even though I might be a director and I may very well be chairman of this organization, the one thing I do understand is I do not travel and therefore cannot go to other areas. I need team leaders, I need operations officers, I need executive management advisory group members. By the way, Adrian is one of my executive management advisory group members who are going to get involved, educate others as we educate them, have input to the board, etc., etc. So my appeal to you, quite frankly, is the following. To have a good look around at your CPF and other activities that may or may not be there, and to look at if there's any possibility or if it would be feasible to get X amount of volunteers to sign up that will be able to assist if and when needed. Of course, that will be done in the name of CERT. It will be done in line with the procedures and policies that we have posted and have ratified it at board level. And on that aspect, once you've confirmed your email address and sent me that photo, then you'll have full access to the members portal. On the members portal, there is a documents folder and there is a policy and directives folder. Go and read them and get a clear understanding of what we are doing. In the interim, I will send you a copy of the training schedule, which, funny enough, last Thursday night, the board has finally accepted as and approved the training schedule for the next year. I will be running the basic radio communication course. And to give you an idea, we have an official published document, published training manual.
Okay, that will help us as well, yeah.
Okay, there is a cost implication because, as I say, you know, printing costs, these things have to be sent to libraries all over the country, and it's officially published.
Okay.
Then the second one, and in all honesty, I know that the course is coming up next month, and you may or may not have additional people in the Free State that can join you. If you've got, even better, this I can always, you know, at the courier cost of $120 or whatever it is, I must check what Free State would be, add it to the bill of the books, and we send it down, and you guys can come up on Zoom on a Saturday morning and we can go through the training, basic training. But the other important training that every CERT volunteer should go through, I just want to come in closer there, is the induction training. This training provides a rather intense background into disaster management and the Disaster Management Act in particular.
Okay.
Because it is in line with the Disaster Management Act that MCOM Assist CERT will provide disaster relief and provide additional assistance in mitigating disasters.
Okay.
A very vital role of CERT volunteers, but they do not know it. The induction training will take you through the authority of CERT, its objectives, who can register, how's it structured, how's it financed, the directives, entitlements, the code of conduct, and so it goes on. I've got 23 chapters there. All right, it's not a very big book, but it is still something in the region of 10 hours worth of training. It's about 96 pages long.
That's EC1001, the ECOM Assist CERT induction training now.
Correct. I see you registered for one of them, which is good. I'm not going to do anything with that at the moment. I've got it on record. I'm going to get everybody else. We only put it out on last week that this is the training schedule. The other one that is not up on the webpage as yet, I must remember my camera is facing a bit of an angle, is the disaster area damage assessment.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one. Okay.
Yeah, because this is the one that's hot off the press now in February, 256 pages long. Again, extremely intense in terms of what are disasters, definitions, risk analysis, risk profiles, etc., hazard assessments, vulnerability assessments, how to do it, how not to do it, why to do it, and the reporting of any assessments that are done and the documentation that will be utilized.
Okay.
So again, this disaster area damage assessment is what will set us as a non-government organization apart from all other EMS search and rescue organizations, etc. Why? Because the purpose of this is to train volunteers to know where the high-risk areas are, to know what can become a high risk, and then to be able to literally cover their designated area and determine what areas are damaged, what areas are publicly accessible, and which areas are no longer publicly accessible, to report that up through the command structure to eventually get through to EMS and disaster management, because, it's even worse for you guys out in the farms. You might have 2 roads if you're lucky into a particular area. And the shit hits the fan. I know when the Bloemhof Dam flooded in 87, 86, 87, I ran relief operations there when I was Red Cross manager. I ended up doing a complete relief operation in a little town called Amalia. Just, the whole of Wolmaranstad, all those areas just went for a ball. Bloemhof, Ritchie, Wolmaranstad, it was total chaos. So now you get a call that comes in, my granny's having a heart attack, and you send an ambulance, and it takes 3/4 of an hour just to hit the main road and another 3 hours to get to the farm, and then the road's washed away, and then they've got to turn around and try a different route. So it can be a couple of hours before the amber gets to you. Yeah. So the disaster area damage assessment definitely is one that is going to become vitally important. I'm on a 40-minute limit on Zoom. So this thing is going to kick out in 10 minutes or just under. But my appeal to you is to take your passion and see which way you can drive it forward. Adrian, come back on voice.
Listening.
I have a question for you. If I, as a board member in one of our meetings, had to say to the executive management, should we bring this man up as a vital leader in his particular area, what would your response be?
Chad, to be honest, Tian seemed to be quite educated in the area. From his previous experience, he's also exhibiting passion. If we can align the goals of Tian's and us all together, it's all systems go in my books.
Okay, now, go ahead, Tian.
The people in town and surrounding areas, they seem to be more than willing to help. When even if it's a newcomer to town, or is a guest or a local that got in distress, there's a active call to duty almost. Everybody jumps and starts trying to fix the problem. It would be nice to coordinate that so that the people that actually does the help don't expose themselves to unnecessary risk. I think a bit of basic training will not go amiss. I'm lucky in a sense that at least 70% of the people that's willing to help is old SADF members. So they're not stupid. They went through a certain amount of training, and the young ones, that is their parents. So they seem to be picking it up as we go along. My biggest concern at the moment is we coming back to the snake thing. It is snake country here, and we had a couple of incidents where they're self-trained to catch and release, and I'm worried about some of them. Which are fun to grab a tail by the tail because of that's what they see on TV. So one of our initial programs is to give them the basics of how to do venomous snakes safely. You don't need to kill it. You can communicate it safely without you being in danger or well, you're always in danger, but I mean, there's basic principles. Out of a medical or medical help situation, there is not much we can do. We are too far from places. Either we have to airlift, or we have to meet people halfway from town to town. And then even at that point, anti-venom is not well stocked at all. So, and the cost is prohibitively expensive. It's just not one vial that you need. You need maybe 10 or 8 or 12 vials of anti-venom. I can, as the people move in, because it seems that there's a lot of people moving in for holiday purposes and for their second home, or they're setting up shop here and they're working remotely. And I can see that nature and humans are going to they're going to clash at one stage or another. But these are all things that we can bite-size the information for them, just to make sure that they don't go
interrupt you on that one.
into the situation. That's all.
On that one, you came out with a specific, for example, now snakes. So yeah, that is something that we have never thought about, and that means that, as you say, you have a dedicated training scenario for that, for the people that in that area is always going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
guys, I'm gonna recommend a 2-minute break. As I said, the 40 minutes timeout is kicking in. So let me close this session. I'll open up again. I'm also just going to grab a cup of coffee, and I don't know if you guys need to get a quick cup or go for a leak. I need both. And then I'll open Zoom up, and we're going to resume as soon as I'm back here. During that session, I want to give you, Tianus, my background in particular. I think this is going to be of major benefit to you, but I'm also going to give you a couple of other possibilities. So in the last 4 minutes, firstly, upfront, I want to say to you, listen, be very careful with this radio communication side that you're busy playing with. You are in for some very heavy fines if ICASA gets any complaints or hear, learn, or otherwise of it. I say this on the backbone of a letter that has just been sent out to AfriForum by ICASA, informing AfriForum in the Free State that the Baofeng radios are illegal for them to be in possession of. I will send you a copy of that letter so that you are above board. I personally am going to recommend that you do undergo the radio amateur training and write the exam and become a radio amateur. It will be of major benefit all round. In terms of your radio broadcasting station, dude, your concept is spot on the mark. I'm busy waiting for certain things to arrive during the course of the next week or two. And when it does, and I've done my testing and I put it out, you're going to sit back and say, for fuck's sakes, this guy's 6 years or 9 years older than me, 8 years older than me. He's 8 years ahead of me. Why didn't I think of it earlier? So just bear that one in mind, okay? But I also would like to say, not in particular on the next session in particular, because I think that session, I'm going to also record it, and I think I must make it available or at least have a link for you that you can share with other people in the area to let them just sit back and listen to what I've got to say. So the next session is definitely going to be me. As far as two-way radio communications is going, if you get at least 50 volunteers signed up as CERT, using perhaps your home address as a local address, I could in actual fact look at providing two-way radio licenses officially. and legally.
The license that we use for CPF in Pretoria, isn't that in a free band?
No,
400 and something or
no, you
something.
guys, that's illegal. The CPF shut that
most
song.
probably
This,
so you're thinking, I never actually discussed this with Jan, but okay, with our repeater, I know that we pay money. So maybe our radios are then included into the repeater.
all right, we just lost you there, Tennis. Okay, Adrian, I'm going to reboot the session, okay?
Okay.